Hello, everyone. Welcome to TALRadio. This is me, RJ Saankhya, hosting through the interview today. This is the show where TALRadio proudly highlights extraordinary organizations and the remarkable individuals behind them. And today, I have the privilege of shining the spotlight on the Foundation for Hearing Research. And it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to transforming the lives of children with hearing impairments. And joining us is the esteemed executive director of the foundation, Bill Doyle. With a passion for making a difference, Bill has been at the helm of organization, leading it towards unprecedented success and positively impacting countless lives. And in this segment, we will delve into the inspiring work of the Foundation of Hearing Research and also explore Bill's invaluable contributions and gain insights into his personal journey as well. So let's dive in, right? But before we go, let me welcome our special guest, Bill Doyle. Hi, Bill. How are you doing?
Just great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, starting with the questions, tell us something about yourself and how you have joined to be the part of this wonderful organization.
I've been executive director here for 5 years, and my background is really not from the nonprofit world or from the world of the deaf or hard of hearing. I came in with a background from the for-profit turnaround space, helping small companies. So I was recruited in here and saw an exciting opportunity and a mission that I find passionate.
Great. So, can you provide us with an overview of the foundation's missions and its objectives?
Our mission is to transform lives of children who are deaf or hard of hearing by teaching them to listen, speak, and learn.
Great. So, what specific programs and initiatives does the foundation offer to support children with hearing impairments?
Well, we have 4 lines of service. We have a school and clinic here in Redwood City that provides therapy and education for children who are deaf or hard of hearing. And what we do in general is focus on language. Language is the often overlooked foundation of literacy and learning. The children we serve have access to sound, but that is not enough. They need structured language instruction. So we provide that here on site for children. We provide it through our other lines of service in 3 different ways. We have our Baby Talk Tele-Intervention program, which provides speech language therapy one-on-one to families via video link. And that's been a partnership with the Stanford Graduate School of Medicine for about 12 years. And that serves children aged 0 to 3. That's a grant-funded program. For children, once they turn 3, we extend that program with a new line of service that we call Teach LSL. LSL means listening and spoken language. So we provide video remote instruction of language for children ages 3 to 6 to bridge them to kindergarten. And then our 4th line of service is our Talk to Me coach assisted parent learning app, which is taking our proven curriculum, breaking it into 3-minute pieces and delivering it over smartphone or laptop so that parents and caregivers can teach children beyond our range to listen, speak, and learn. That way we can reach the thousands of families who currently don't have access to early language services.
That's wonderful. So, could you share some success stories or heartwarming experiences of children who have benefited from the foundation's programs?
Sure. I think the most gratifying part of my life is to see children here at the school who transform within the space of a year. At the beginning of a year, some of these children really don't have language. They struggle to comprehend, and they're really hard to understand. And by the end of the year, these same children are climbing onto the stage at our end of year talent show and singing a song. We conducted a survey of our alumni. We've been around for 56 years. So we have some alums who are adults. And of the respondents, 80% of the adults were either college students or held a master's or bachelor's degree or even a PhD, which is a remarkable contrast to the statistics for children who are deaf or hard of hearing nationwide. Nationwide, 50% of children who are deaf or hard of hearing finish high school at a fourth grade level of literacy or below, which is completely unnecessary.
So, Bill, what do you think is the prevalence of hearing loss, and why does early intervention matter?
About 1 in 500 babies is born deaf. And by the time children get to kindergarten, that number roughly doubles as children lose their hearing. So we're dealing with a fairly small population in percentage terms. But if you think of the 0 to 3 population in the United States, it's about 25,000 children. And why we start early as adult? Well, we all have about the same number of neurons in our brains our whole life. As adults, each neuron is connected to about 1,000 other neurons. But for a 2-year-old, it's 15,000. And as the child ages, when a child gets to be about 4, the brain starts to prune the neural pathways that aren't used. So it becomes much harder to learn languages, any language, after a child becomes 4 or 10. And as we all know as adults, it's hard to learn languages. But for a 2 or 3-year-old, they can learn very rapidly.
Great. So, what are some of the biggest challenges of the foundation, and how have you overcome them so far?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is really getting parents of children who are newborns to realize 2 important things. First of all, I guess I would give you a little background. 90% of children who are born deaf are born into families where there is no other deaf member of the family. So parents and other family members really don't know anything about it, and they're typically in some sort of shock. What they need to know is that a child who is deaf can, in most cases, learn to talk. And the second important point is you have to start early. You can't wait till kindergarten, because then the child has already been deprived of language for too long. So our challenge is primarily to get families to understand the potential of children to speak and to get on it early.
Okay, so how does the Foundation for Hearing Research ensure the sustainability and long-term impact of its programs?
Well, we have fundraisers and we have grant supporters. We do receive some tuition from school districts who send their children to us. So they send a 3 or 4-year-old to us, and we return them for first grade, ready to succeed in a mainstream first grade classroom. So our program only goes through kindergarten. And in terms of sustainability, we're hoping that our Talk to Me program, which is still quite new, we just introduced our first partial product line this month. We believe that will be able to support itself by providing curriculum to counties for a fairly nominal fee, but that will be a self-sustaining line of service.
Great. So I'd like to know if there are any signs that parents can look out to understand that the child has a hearing impairment. And if they find out that they do, what should be the first thing that they have to do?
Well, every newborn is tested. And as I said, about 1 in 500 are flagged as being deaf. So if a newborn is flagged, they'll go back to the audiologist for a follow-up test. And the audiologist will inform the family, and then the family has some decisions to make. In general, families have access to quite strong hearing technology, either hearing aids or cochlear implants, and those provide the child access to sound. And for families that choose listening and spoken language, the access to sound then needs to be complemented by early and focused language instruction. So if you think about it, baby hears sound even before being born. So that a child who is born deaf will have at least 6 months of silence during which their brain is not processing sounds and any or patterns of noise. Even with hearing technology, it's not perfect. So the children have access to sound, but it's not perfect. So what our program does is helps the children attach meaning to the sound, link that meaning to words, tie the words together into ideas, and help the child learn language while learning to think. And then one of the things that's kind of tricky is that a lot of language goes in before speech comes out. So it can be hard for a family to realize that there is a lot of language processing happening before the child speaks. And then finally, when the child learns to express themselves, they sound like any other child. So people who come here to our site will look around and they'll see children with hearing aids and cochlear implants interact. They talk, they sing, they play, and they're learning language rapidly and getting ready to succeed in first grade classrooms.
Thank you for that detailed explanation, Bill. So, how can individuals or organizations interested in supporting the foundation's cause reach out to you, and how can they get involved in it?
Well, they can reach us through our website, which is foundationforhearing.org. And we are really looking for people who can support us and advise us as we try to expand from regional and state success to take our digital app national. We're looking for people who share our belief that language is the foundation for literacy and learning. There are a lot of organizations that do great work teaching kids to read, but if they don't have language, they don't have the foundation. And there are a lot of children who are not deaf, but who don't have the strong language. So people who are interested in that foundation of literacy would be interested, we think. There's strong research in brain development and how the developing brain develops its pathways. And I think some of those researchers could be interested in seeing the impact of language as the child develops. And then above all, we bring these children access to literacy, to learning, and to human interaction, because without language, these children have no access. And the reality is 90% of children in the United States don't have access to a program like ours or a signing program or language at all. And the result is that they bump along through special ed classrooms their whole careers, and they come out, as I mentioned earlier, finishing high school with a fourth grade level of literacy. So the impact on each child is enormous, and we have an unprecedented opportunity to scale that impact, which is tremendously exciting. As far as I'm concerned, it is a privilege of a lifetime to be able to contribute to transforming children's lives. It is an opportunity of a lifetime to scale that to the thousands of families who currently don't have access to this kind of service.
Great. So, lastly, before we go on more of a personal note, what are some of the lessons or insights that you have gained from your work with the foundation that have influenced your own life and values?
Well, I have really been privileged to work with an incredible group of people here who are professionals who are dedicated to either educating or providing therapy, or in our case, combining the two, to transform these children's lives. And so what I've seen is professionals with high levels of education and expertise and love of children taking what are very sophisticated ideas, but delivering them in ways that a 2 or a 3 or a 4-year-old can take in. And seeing the transformation of the children is energizing.
Wonderful. So, is there anything else that you'd like to tell to our TAL listeners before we go?
I guess the two messages are that language is the access to literacy, learning, and human interaction. And for children who are deaf or hard of hearing or other language challenges, start early and be encouraged, because these children can listen, speak, and learn.
Absolutely, Mr. Will. So that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your insights on the Foundation for Hearing Research. And your dedication to improving life is really, really inspiring. So that was an honor to have you as a guest.
Well, thank you for your time and thank you for your attention. We look forward to reaching out to more children who have significant needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. So that was Bill Doyle, Executive Director of Foundation for Hearing Research. Hope you find this interview insightful. For more such interviews, stay tuned to TALRadio, powered by Touch Your Life Foundation. And this is me, Saankhya, signing off for today. Take care, you all.